Then you've got Paul Feinbaum saying that Arch Manning is the second coming of Jesus Christ and that he is the greatest college football player of all time without even having a singular season of starts of a sample size. And then you have all these rumors swirling from Colin Cowherd saying, oh, I'm hearing that Arch Manning's going to go back to school, and there seems to be rumblings that I wouldn't be surprised if, because of Nick Saban's relationship with Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Browns, if the Browns in 2 years say, we're drafting Arch Manning and we're bringing Nick Saban out of retirement. And then you have Jerry Jones doing exactly what we thought he was going to do in terms of selling the farm for Micah Parsons, getting 2 first-round picks back, along with a defensive tackle, and essentially the word on the street being from his own former player in Des Bryant, Jerry Jones knows exactly what he's doing. Jerry Jones wants his Herschel Walker moment. He wants to get rid of a guy in Micah Parsons to get draft capital because he thinks that next year Arch Manning's going to be in the draft, and he is willing to sell the farm for a Manning regardless of ability. He thinks he's going to be great, but just the name in and of itself, he's not going to miss the opportunity to draft a Manning. You have literal rumors of NFL franchises before the season even starts saying, we're tanking for Arch Manning. You're going against a team that is no cakewalk in Ohio State. Quite literally in Ohio State, in their territory, with 100,000 fans seemingly being against you that entire way of that game. You have Arch Manning, who really, at the end of the day, has not played as much college football as we would like to have seen. And you're putting him in a situation where he's used to coming in packages. He's used to coming in for rushes. And we've also not taken into account, and all the things that I've said, that Arch Manning is, in fact, human. He may be a Manning. He may have a historic last name. He may have a tremendous aura. He may say all the right things. He may have some of the best and hardest quotes that I've ever heard, including the red dot quote, which in the end kind of backfires and does not seem as cool as it did a few days ago in retrospect because of that result. But like a guy who everybody thought was literally a god amongst men in college football and the aura that he held. And you know what? He is a young kid, and he is someone who hasn't started very many games in college football, and he is going into his first season in college football knowing, okay, I'm going to be the guy. And it could not have come in a worse situation against the reigning defending national champions and a great coach and a defensive coordinator in Matt Patricia, who won 3 NFL Super Bowls, who bested guys like Peyton Manning and Eli Manning back in their day. And now you're going against one of the most complex coverages in all of college football because Matt Patricia is one of the best defensive minds in football, period. I don't care if he didn't have a great showing as a head coach, and I'll be the first one to say that and agree with you, but he's one of the best defensive minds in football, not the NFL and college football, period, in football, period. And he's had 8 months since February when he was hired to scheme up one of the most exotic blitz and coverage packages Arch Manning has ever seen, and maybe something that most college football quarterbacks will not see this season until they make it, if they make it, to the NFL. That's how great Matt Patricia's defense is. And by the way, he's running it with no scrubs. He's running it with some of the best athletes in college football because Ohio State, even after losing 14 starters last season, or in the offseason, you could say, has an NIL collective that feels like it's infinite, and they are able to get some of the best players in the sport via the transfer portal and via commitments. So yes, this was not the best situation for Arch Manning. I will say Arch did not set his feet as we would have liked. His footwork looks like it needs work, dare I say, and that's putting it very mildly. He did this weird sidearm mechanic a couple times where like his mechanics just looked off. He wasn't getting enough zip or velocity or just natural momentum behind the ball. Felt like he was arming it almost like it was a baseball throw. And you cannot do that when you're playing a team that is as good as Ohio State. Arch's footwork needs to get better. Arch's footwork needs work. I would dare I say that Arch's mechanics need a little bit of work and refining. And Arch just needs time to calm down because clearly the nerves got to Arch Manning for arguably the first time in his entire football career. We have seen Arch Manning succeed so much that we just took it for granted at every level in middle school and high school, in the few packages that were run with him, his first season at Texas, and last year as well, and the moments when Quinn Ewers was seemingly forced out and when he wasn't going to be available, and how loud the noise got of, oh, we've got to get rid of Quinn Ewers. We've got to show him the door because we've got Arch Manning. I've heard this over the years. Sometimes you don't try to get happier than happy. Texas fans, you had a really good thing going with Quinn Ewers, and even though he didn't perform like we would have liked at times, clearly he was no scrub. And clearly Arch Manning has some work to do, and I don't think this is the end of Arch Manning's career. I think he's going to be just fine. I'm very excited for him. I'm very, I don't want to get too, glaze worthy here, but, I wish him the best. I think he's going to be just fine. But this was not the best performance. Two things can be true. Not the best performance. And B, you got to give him time.